Hello, ladies and gentlemen, but obviously mostly ladies. It's just lovely to see you today. Really delighted to welcome you to our Reach for Success conference, which is the second in this series, which is about women and career success and enterprise. It's really lovely to see the room full, and it's lovely to see the decorations, but also just to feel the energy and the excitement. And I was really pleased to be asked to welcome you today. We know that women face challenges in their careers, and we know that numerically because we know that women are underrepresented in top positions and senior positions, and we know that women's pay still lags behind men's pay. And I think we've actually passed the day in the year from which on average women work for free, I believe, because women are, on average, if you look globally and nationally, paid about 10% less still, I think, than men. So this part of the year, on average, women are working for free. We're not all the same, so women face different challenges and we have different aspirations. And I think, it's really important to acknowledge in settings like this that success doesn't mean the same for everybody, and not everybody's facing the same challenges in achieving what they want in life. However, I think what is really important is to have a space that's mainly for women, to share the things that are obstacles for you, but also to have that sense of support. And when I think about what's been important for me at work, it's often been, first of all, finding people with the same values as me, who are working towards the same goals. So when there are setbacks, you can reconnect with those values. And also finding people to have a laugh with. And I think it's been really important all my career to have people to release that tension with and have a sense of fun and find the fun in my work every day. And I think that's really important. And it's often started through events like this, where I found people that I get on with. And that support has just carried me through periods of trials and tribulations, difficulties, and also having people to celebrate your own success with and their success. One of the things we do know that is common is that women seem to need female role models more than men seem to need male role models. And I think we could draw conclusions about why that is, about underrepresentation in some tiers of management and leadership, but also the challenges that people face and the complexity of people's lives that they're often juggling, women's lives that they're often juggling. So I think another thing about coming here today is a chance to think about who your role models are and what aspects it is of their lives and their behaviour that you want to learn from. And I know that our speakers today are going to do a fantastic job both of substantiating those role models and also helping you to think about who your role models are. Okay, very, very pleased to welcome three exciting speakers. Jenny Garrett is the Women's Coach of the Year 2014, an AP CTC award winner and author of Rocking Your Role, The Guide to Success for Female Breadwinners. She's speaking later on today. And Sarah McLaughlin trains and coaches senior women, particularly with a science, engineering and other technical background, to win influence, stakeholder buy-in and promotion to leadership positions. So I think we're going to learn an awful lot from their contribution today, and also, of course, from each other. And that's one of the reasons why you're in conference setup, the chance to talk to each other and I guess find out exactly where other people are in terms of what they're hoping to achieve out of today. And hopefully find friends that take you through the next challenges of your life. We're kicking off with Debbie Huxton, who's going to lead a session called It's Time to Stop Acting and Start Living. She describes herself as a woman on a mission. She challenges people daily to change their lives for the better by imparting her big wisdom as an inspirational speaker, executive life coach, and author of the Little Book of Big Wisdom. And so with that, I'd like to hand over to Debbie.
Good morning. Good morning. Yes, I'm loud. I didn't travel 2.5 hours from Birmingham to share this accent quietly. So I won't make any apologies from where I come from because I'm very proud of my roots, but if you do need a translator, I am absolutely ecstatic to say I have two people in the room from my home area who can help. Ladies, how excited are you to be alive right now? On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being not very, 10 being I am absolutely overjoyed at being a woman in today's society. Well, I'm here to tell you I'm a 10 out of 10. And by the time you leave today, you will totally feel empowered that you too can be a 10 out of 10. So I want you to start thinking, and all I'm going to ask you for the whole of today, not just while I'm talking, but while everybody is sharing with you, I'm going to ask you to have an open mind. I'm going to ask you to have an open heart. And I'm going to ask you to have lots of curiosity about what starts coming up for you. If you think you can, you can. If you think you can't, you can't. Either way, you, in your seat, are 100% right. That is an amazing quote that has driven my whole life, because there is no such word as can't is the philosophy that my parents have drilled into me from the day I was born. They have empowered me to live my life the way I want to live it, doing what I need to do to show up being the best I can be. So how are your beliefs affecting your life right now? How are your past experiences affecting your life right now? Because the decisions that we're making in this world are very much based on the experiences we've had in life. Now again, I'm very proud to tell you I'm 46. I'm not ashamed to stand here and say to you I'm over 40. But with that comes wisdom. And so as I take you through the next 40 or so minutes, I'm going to share with you a story which will hopefully resonate with many of you, the lessons learned through that story. I'm going to then take you through a small piece of workshop, which is going to really open up some thinking for you. And then I'm going to finish with 7 successful tips that will enhance your living if you dare to change your behaviour and apply them to what you're doing in whatever you're doing right now. So I'm excited to be kicking off today. I can't tell you, I get more excited as the next 45 minutes goes. So feel free to lift your energy, feel free to smile at me, because it's really nerve-wracking when you stood up here and you don't know anybody. And I've been very touched by the things that people have been saying this morning and listening to people out there. And something I just said to the lovely Sarah, how many of you heard the speech by Emma Watson? I remembered her surname now. How many heard her UN speech recently on feminism? If you haven't watched her speech, I'd like you today to jot down on a piece of paper that tonight you're going to go home and watch that speech. For me personally, that young lady changed my opinion on feminism forever. Because I used to go around saying, I'm not a feminist, I'm just a lady out there doing what I need to do. But actually, after watching her speech, I would hold my hand up and say I am a feminist. But I also like to be treated like a lady, just like she said. I'm all about equality. And out there right now in society, as females, we have to go out there and we have to show them what we're made of. We cannot wait for anybody to bring it to us and serve us on a plate. But the challenge we've got is, as I said, life experience sometimes erodes our self-esteem. We may have got a job and we've gone for a promotion and we didn't quite get it. We weren't the right fit, allegedly. There may be things happening in our personal life. We may have had divorces, we may have had bereavements, we may have had challenges that we're facing, and it erodes away at our self-esteem. And when I'm working with business owners across the UK, what I often find is that when I first start working with them, they've lost their identity. They're not sure who they are anymore, but they know they want something more. Is that the case for you right now? Are you thinking to yourself, I know I have a purpose, but I'm not sure what it is. I know I want something more out of this life, but I'm not sure how to get it. Well, today, between the 3 of us and all of the support you've got around you here, we're going to start unlocking that. Is that okay? You ready? Yes, great. I'm looking at Coral over there. She's giving me that big smile. I'm loving it. So, regardless of age, regardless of level of success, and regardless of gender, you can have whatever you want if you choose. It is just simply a matter of choice and mindset. If you choose to change your mindset that will empower you to live your most fearless life, you can create and achieve amazing things. So throughout today, I want you to keep asking yourself, what am I going to do differently when I leave here today? What change can I possibly make in my own life? Now, sometimes I meet people and they go, I've got a long list of change I want to make. By the end of today, I just want you to choose one thing that you're going to change and do differently when you leave here today. Because life is a choice, and it's about personal responsibility. We cannot wait for people to hand us this life on a plate. And I've got a story that illustrates a loss of identity. I've got a story that illustrates that very situation of thinking that life isn't a choice. Let me take you back about 8 years. A story that I once heard about a very busy, overworked, overstressed, overweight nurse. The story that she tells is one of fear. How many of you fear right now making changes in your life? How many of you know you want to make changes, but you're scared? There's something that's holding you back. Something that's holding you back from stepping out and speaking out and saying, I want change. People say to me, Debbie, what's the secret to success? I'm going to reveal it to you today. There is no secret. Success is an inside job. Success is not what you do, it's who you become. You are the creator of your success. So whatever level of success you want, by the time I've finished today, I'm going to give you 7 things that will help you raise that success up. It all starts with you. So this nurse talks about her life, how she'd got on a treadmill. Do you ever feel that? You get up in the morning, you're getting the kids ready for school, if you've got children, you're getting ready to come to university to study, whatever you're trying to do, everything's the same. You go to work, you do your job, you're on autopilot. And as I said, when I was I was privileged enough to be asked to speak at Glenfiddich last week, and I was speaking to the ladies network there, and it's like the zombie apocalypse. Everyone's driving in the same direction, everyone's walking in the same direction, no one's smiling, no one's talking. Well, she was in the midst of a zombie apocalypse, and she felt frustrated. She was working in a very busy A&E department. And that department gave her different challenges every day, but something inside her knew she wasn't happy. She didn't feel that she had full control of her life. She was working all the hours God sent to put money in the bank to create a lifestyle, because that's what we're supposed to do, right, isn't it, ladies? We put money in the bank to create a lifestyle, so we can have holidays, wear the right clothes, look perfect, be the perfect person. So there she was, stuck in the perfection trap, trying to do the perfect career, be the perfect mom, be the perfect wife, do all of those things. But inside her, she wasn't happy. Something was stopping her. That thing that sat whispering in her ear saying, you're not happy. That thing that was creating a gnawing feeling saying, this relationship's not working. That thing that was sitting there eating away at her self-esteem because she was stuck, not able to make decisions. Well, one particular shift she was working, and she had to go into the relatives' room 3 times and deliver the verdict to 3 different families that their lives would be changed forever, that their loved ones wouldn't be going home with them. I want you to just put yourself in her shoes just for that moment in time. Imagine what it's like going into a relative's room and saying, I'm sorry, but your loved one won't be coming home with you today. We've done all we could. That is a huge responsibility. And she thought to herself as she reflected, what would it be like if that was me in the relatives' room? And for the first time in 8 years of a career, she suddenly realised she'd never really given that much thought. So the question I ask you right now is, how much thought are you really giving to what you're doing in your life right now? How much thought are you really giving on reflecting on how you're impacting your society? How much thought are you giving to the roles that you have in your life right now? Well, for the first time in the whole 8 years of her career, of that particular career, she suddenly realised the burden weighed heavy. And that was the thing that was stopping her from moving forward. The burden of being a mom, the burden of being a nurse, the burden of being a wife, the burden of being a daughter. And she felt that heavy weight weighing down on her. And she didn't know how to change it. She felt stuck. And as she drove home that night, something was about to change her life forever. Because when she arrived home to what would normally be a blaring house. How many people here have got teenage children or have had teenage children? I know you don't look old enough, ladies. So you'll understand, and you might see it on your soap operas, whatever. You get home to a house that's usually lit up. It's in the dark 'cause it's a November evening, and it's lit up, and there's music coming out, and she's thinking, this is all I need, a heavy shift at work, blaring music. But it was different. When she got home that particular day, the house was in darkness. She could account for her 2 daughters. She had 3 children. She could account for her 2 daughters. She knew that they were at after school club. She knew that her husband was picking them up. She didn't need to worry. But it was 4:30 on a dusky November evening, and something didn't feel right. How many times in your lives do things not feel right, but you ignore them? You don't make changes because you're stuck in a rut and you haven't got the tools to do that. Well, at that moment in time, as she went into the house, she looked at the bottom of the stairs and there was a school bag. That school bag had been there since 4:30 in the morning. She knew because she'd put it there. Where was her 17-year-old son? Intuition told her he had probably bunked off school. Great, fantastic. She's working all the hours God sends to provide her son with a lifestyle, send him to private school, give him a great education, and there he is disrespecting her. Her emotions started to well up inside her. When you find yourselves in a situation that you don't like, you feel emotion welling up inside you. And quite often we're making decisions in the workplace or at home based on emotion. If there's one thing I tell you today, never, ever, ever make a decision based on emotion. Do not react, take time out and respond later. Remain gracious and remain dignified. However, she didn't. Because she didn't have the tools to be able to do that. All she felt was anger, sadness and shame that he was possibly bunking off again. She was going to have another phone call from the school. She ran up the stairs and she shouted at the top of her voice, Matt, where are you? If you have not gone to school, you are in so much trouble, I'm telling you. You're disrespecting me and your dad. I don't know what I'm going to do anymore. I'm working all the hours God sends to provide a lifestyle for you, send you to school. And she went on till she got to his door. She placed her hand on his bedroom door and something intuitively told her that something wasn't right. How many times in your life are you missing clues that are telling you something isn't right and you're ignoring it, only for the burden to build up in your unconscious mind? Well, as she got inside the bedroom, she suddenly faced what no mother should ever have to face. There on the bed was a 17-year-old, 6'2", 17-stone bloke, unconscious. And she knew in her emergency training that he had taken an overdose, possibly. And she knew she hadn't got time to get an ambulance because they didn't live near enough to the hospital. And her emergency training kicked in. There will be times in your lives when you have situations that you need to deal with quickly. And all of your training in life will come up. Today, by the time I finish with you, I'm going to give you some life mastery that will allow you to deal with emergency situations quickly and swiftly. And I'm not talking about first aid. I'm talking about the mental shift that you're going to need to keep up with today's society in this evolving, growing world. How the hell was she going to fireman lift her 17-year-old son, weighing about 17 stone, which is 5'7", weighing 16 stone herself? How was she going to get him in the car? Well, she did. And the reason she did is because she was so connected to that emotional driver. She could have moved heaven and earth at that moment in time. You've seen it. You've possibly seen the YouTube video. If you haven't, go and check this one out, of the guy that runs the Ironman triathlon in Hawaii with his disabled son in his arms. And he does it because he's emotionally connected to his outcome. Whatever it is that you're trying to achieve in your life right now, you need to be truly connected to that emotional outcome that you can move heaven and earth. There'll be times when you're studying that you've got to get assignments in quick and you're juggling families, you're juggling work. So she got him to the hospital. And when she got him to the hospital for the first time ever, she found herself with the shoe on the other foot, sat in the relatives' room. Sat in the relatives' room for the first time ever, waiting for a verdict to be delivered to her. And she thought to herself, why? Why now? Why us? What's happening? That word why has the ability to empower you or disempower you. And right now with that word why, I'd like you to start thinking, why are you here? Why have you come to this event today? Because we always want to know what we're going to learn and we want to know how we're going to do it, but quite often we miss the purpose, which is why. Why are you here today? And I want you to think about that, and whatever comes up for you, write it down, because I'm going to be around all day and I want you to come and tell me why you're here. I want you to start exploring everything about yourself, becoming more self-aware about your thoughts, because your thoughts are driving your future. So she sat in the relatives' room and she waited for that verdict. Earlier in the day, she had been thinking, what would it be like to be in that relatives' room? And all of a sudden she'd got what she wished for. In this life, what you focus on is what you get. So what are you focusing on right now? If you're focusing on achievement and moving forward and empowering yourself, then that's what you're going to get. If you're focusing on, I can't do it, this is too hard, it's such a struggle, I'm just a woman in a man's world, that's what you're going to get. So whatever it is that you want, you need to change your focus. And she knew at that moment in time there needed to be changes in her life, massive changes. And I don't tell you that story to impress you. I tell you that story to impress upon you that change is possible. Because I'm really proud to tell you that that young man is now 26. He was 26 2 weeks ago. He's my son. I was that overweight, overstressed, overworked nurse. So if I can say anything, I say it from my heart, change is possible. You can go out and you can create a life that you love. You can become an influencer, you can lead. You can be anything that you want to be, regardless of your gender. You just have to have the right strategies in place, you have to have the right support network, and you have to have the right tool management kit, which I'm going to share with you now. So, I'd just like these forms to be given out for my two beautiful helpers. Where are they? Oh, here they are. Look at this. I've got to pack this into 45 minutes. I usually spend a day on this whole particular subject, but I wanted to give you a taster of what's possible for you. And as I said, me working as an overweight, overstressed nurse, I had many roles. Because as an A&E nurse, you're constantly evolving, you're constantly training. So I was studying, I was a mom, I was a daughter, I was a wife, I was a sister. So I had all of these roles going on in my life, and there was a lot of overwhelm and chaos. And with that overwhelmness and chaos came very, very blurry thinking. And I felt out of control, and I didn't know how to take control. And there was something holding me back, and I wasn't sure what it was, and I needed to go on a journey of discovery. So what you're doing today, ladies, I want you to congratulate yourselves, because it's the first day of the rest of your lives, if you choose it to be. So in this particular form that you've been given, has everybody got one now? Has everybody got one? Yeah. Perfect. I just want you to now, so you've got 9 boxes. In these 9 boxes, I want you to write at the top of each box a role that you have in your life right now. And believe me, you can come out with more than 9 roles, but we're going to go for 9. Some of you probably got 16. Okay? So I want you to think about what you do in your life right now. You may be a student, you may be a mother, you may be a daughter, you may be a carer, you may be an auntie. You may have hobbies, you may be a member of a community interest, you may be a church member. Whatever you are right now, I want you to write those roles out. I don't want you to stress too much if you can't come up with 9 roles now, because I'm putting you under pressure. I'm taking you out of your comfort zone to think very quickly. If you can't come up with 9 roles, don't beat yourself up, that's absolutely okay. We'll go with what you have, because I want you to promise yourselves that you'll go and you'll continue doing this at home. So while you're just thinking about your roles, I just want you to think about these things that I needed to do to make some changes that you can do. The first thing I needed to do is I needed to accept that life happens. I needed to accept that challenge was always going to come into my life, because that's life. Life is there to challenge us. It's there to challenge us so that we evolve, stretch and grow. I needed to accept that. And when you can accept that challenge will come into your life, everything becomes easier. You become much more flexible in your thinking. So has everybody got their roles down? Yeah? Okay, this is the fun part. It's where I need my phone. I have it on airplane mode, don't worry, I won't get any tweets. So, what we're going to do, I'm going to give you 2 scenarios, and you pick the scenario. When you've picked the scenario, what I want you to do is then I'm going to give you 30 seconds per box to write down the answers to that scenario. So the first scenario is you're at a networking meeting or you're at a party and you hear a group of people talking about you, and they're talking positively about you. There's no negative, it's all good stuff. And it's the things that you would hear them saying, that you would want to hear them saying about you. It's very challenging because we don't talk about ourselves in a positive way, do we? Or the other scenario that weirdly some people find they can connect to is you're dead and you're at your own funeral. You're a fly on the wall and you can hear the liturgy being read. You can hear the sermon being read about you. You can hear people talking about you. What are the good things that you would want to be heard? So whichever one suits you, is the one that you choose, the one that you can work with. So I'm going to give you 30 seconds per box, and that's all, because we're going with our intuition here. We're going with our gut feeling. No overanalyzing. Write down whatever comes up for you in each box. So, go. We should have some plinky plonky music. I would sing, but... Stop, move on to box 2 if you haven't already done so. Stop, move on to box 3 if you haven't already done so. Stop and move on to box 3 if you haven't already done so. There's steam coming off these pens. It's great, I love it. Stop and move on to box 4 if you haven't already done so. Stop and move on to box 5. Move on to box 6. Box 7. Box 8. And finally, move on to box 9 if you haven't already done so. Time's up. You can give your exam papers in now. We'll be giving out the results next week. No, I'm just joking. It feels a bit like that, doesn't it? Now, what I've got you to do there is something that most of us don't do. We don't self-reflect and we don't explore who we really are and how we're showing up in our own lives. And that is key to your success. You need to know who you are. You need to know how you're wired. You need to know why you're making the decisions that you make. If you don't, you have no excuses to be doing what you're doing right now. And lots of times what I find is people are coming up with all sorts of wild excuses of why they're not doing stuff. And the real reason is they don't really understand themselves. So this is a little bit of a taster of you getting to know yourself. For those of you that are already doing this kind of work, I celebrate you. And for those of you that are just getting started on this journey, I celebrate you. So what I want you to do with each of these boxes is I want you to just have a look at them now and give them a score from 1 to 10. Not each individual line that you've written, but each box as a whole. A score from 1 to 10, 1 being I am not living true to that right now, that really doesn't describe me right now, it's how I would like to be, but it's not me. And 10 being on the money, this is who I am, this is me being authentic, I am truly aligned to these words. So give yourself a score from 1 to 10 and be honest. You don't need to share this with anyone. I'm not going to ask you about it. This is just for you to work on yourself. So be honest. Okay, has everybody given the boxes a score? Okay. If you're courageous enough, you can answer this question by putting your hands in the air. If you don't want to, that's absolutely okay. This is all about free will. But I want you to try and get out of your comfort zone today and see what happens as you do. So how many people got a score of 8 or above in most boxes? Fantastic. How many people got a score below 5 in any of the boxes? Fantastic, and thank you for sharing that. If you got a score of below 5 in any of those boxes, those are the areas of your life that you need to be working on right now. They're the areas of your life that will be unconsciously holding you back because realistically, you know you're not aligned. Realistically, that's where that feeling of something doesn't feel quite right with me right now. That is the areas that you need to focus on now. Some people will have more than 3 boxes. I had one lady that had all boxes, but she was just very self-depreciating. She didn't big herself up enough. If you have more than 3 boxes, pick the box that right now feels a priority to you, because this isn't about creating more overwhelm. Success is an inside job, but it comes one step at a time. I have people that want to climb the whole staircase. And if you're anything like me, that was me. When I wanted to make changes, when I wanted to leave my career and set up my own business, I wanted success yesterday. But it was my coach and mentor that said to me, Deb, success isn't about the money in your bank account right now. Money is just the result of the action. You need to be taking the right actions that will fulfill you in order to have the success that you crave. But I wasn't craving money. I was craving that feeling of fulfillment. I was craving the need to influence others because one of my highest core values is leadership. And in my job, that was challenging because I didn't have leadership. I got to that level, but that level meant so much more. And I wasn't the right person for that type of job because I like to care and nurture people. And to get to that level, there were things that I needed to do. I needed to lose my identity to go that high. What these ladies are going to share with you later is you don't need to do that. So, those roles there that you have just gone through I want you to keep reflecting on them. Don't just put this piece of paper away and never look at it again. I want you to go home now and make yourself the promise. I give you today the gift of self-reflection. You can use this with your family, use it with your children, get them to start looking at themselves and how. It's actually a great tool to use with kids because they can then start self-monitoring their own behaviours and how they're showing up in life. I've got one, I spoke at Concordia College a couple of weeks ago. It's a high achieving academy in Shrewsbury where they have 14 to 19-year-olds who are highly intelligent. This is one of the exercises that they're now going to implement with their students because it's starting to empower them and get them to think how they're showing up in their lives. It's about personal responsibility. So what I want you to think about now is I'm going to give you some tips that you can take away and start applying to your life, okay? So as I said, the first thing I needed to do is accept that challenge will come your way. Don't be fooled into thinking when you've dealt with one big challenge in your life that another challenge won't happen, because it will. You almost have to become like a goalkeeper. You're like this and you're waiting for challenge to come. And you get really good at understanding, and that's okay. It's just another challenge, I can deal with that. The second thing you need to do is learn to be in the pain. So many of us, when things are hurting and we don't like the situations that are going on in our lives, we distract. We'll turn to alcohol, we'll do drugs. I'm not saying you guys do, I'm not saying I did, but this is just statistics here. Alcohol, drugs, watching trash TV, updating social media with terrible statuses about how bad life is and how somebody's just wronged you. We do things to distract ourselves from, instead of looking at ourselves in the mirror. We have to learn to be in the pain. We have to understand, we have to stop playing the blame game and blaming everyone around us and start to look in the mirror and understand that we're responsible for where we are in life. It's not down to the government, it's not down to the recession, it's not down to our mom, our dad or our upbringing. Regardless of what kind of upbringing you have, it's about you in your shoes right now. You have to learn to be in that pain, and then you can heal from it, and then you can explore what you're going to do next. The other thing you need to do is have compassion. I'm not talking about compassion for people out there, because people have been very kind this morning. I've watched people interact with each other, they're smiling, they're kind. And I'm sure if I fell over right now, I'm hoping that many of you would run to my aid and ask me if I was okay. I'm on about compassion for yourselves. As women, we're not very good at that. We put ourselves on the back burner. I'm here to tell you today, the only way you can really live a fulfilled life is by putting on your oxygen mask first. You go on a plane, you go on a ship, they tell you, put your life jacket on first, put your oxygen mask on first. There's a reason for that. You cannot help people around you if you don't make your difference. It's fantastic to have the philosophy, I want to make a difference, but you have to make your difference first. So have compassion. Stop beating yourselves up. A mistake is a mistake once. If you're making the same mistake over and over again, it's become a choice. You need to start looking at why you're choosing that. The fourth thing I'd like you to think about is start to do something different. If you keep on doing what you've always done, you're going to keep on getting what you've always got. The definition of insanity. Well, I was completely insane. It was no wonder I felt cuckoo when I was doing my job role, feeling that things were just going over on autopilot, because I kept doing the same things. Shake it up a little bit. Shake up your daily routine. Your success is hidden in your daily routine. If you want to do something different, go out there, find a coach, a mentor, a support group, a network, people that will help you. Make friends today. Make it a goal today to go away with 5 new names, 5 new people that you can connect with and have that support network. Come and connect with me. Connect with the ladies in the room, Sarah and Jennifer. Connect with us. Use us. That's what we're here for. What's the other one? E, your emotional driver. Start to explore your values. Start to explore. Sian mentioned it earlier when she opened up, and I was really touched by that, because she said 2 things that she felt that she needed in her life was to surround herself with people with like-minded values and people that would help her laugh. Your values are key to your purpose. When I found out my values, my top 4 values, family, freedom, leadership, independence, and there I am in a job role. That was never going to bring me satisfaction. I'm a natural leader. I wasn't born a business owner. I chose to be a business owner. However, you need to get really clear on your values, because those are the things that will help you align your life and bring you peace of mind that you seek. And the other thing I want you to start practicing is gratitude. Being grateful every single day for the life that you actually have. Because when I woke up this morning, somebody else didn't. When you woke up this morning, somebody else didn't. Somebody else didn't get that chance. And working in an A&E department, if it taught me nothing else, it was to be grateful that I have this opportunity to live this life my way, do it my way, empowering others and going out there and using all of the skills and resources that I have inside me to share with people like you. But you are exactly the same as me. You just have a different story. If you choose to have the same mindset as me, you choose to do the same things as me, you can have the same. It is not for the chosen few, it's for those that choose. So finally, as I wrap this up, how am I doing for time, girls? Where's my timekeeper? Have I? Oh, I'm loving this. 7 successful habits that I want you to start thinking about. These are behaviours that I personally believe, this is my philosophy for running a successful business, but not just a successful business. Everything starts with you. For you to have a successful business, a successful career, it all starts with you and getting yourself right. I hear people say, oh, I just want to be happier. Well, great. Choose to be happier. Happiness is an inside job. Life is actually an inside job. Nobody can gift you anything. It's what you gift yourself. So today, start to ask yourself, what do I choose? What is it I really want? I want you to write that down right now. What is it, if I had a magic wand, that you really want? If you could have it, anything in the world, what would it be? You don't have to share this. And the reason I don't ask people to share at this stage is just so you can just do this and explore your own thoughts. So, staying on the theme of thoughts, your thoughts are your future. Everything that we think is linked to an emotion. Your thoughts become emotions, your emotions then lead to actions, your actions lead to reactions and results, and then consequences, depending on how those thoughts are wired. So if you're having positive thoughts, you're going to have positive emotions, which are going to lead to positive actions, which will lead to positive results. If you're having negative thoughts, you're going to have negative emotions, which lead to negative actions, which then lead to reactions and consequences. So how are your thoughts driving your future? How are your thoughts right now? What are the thoughts that you're having right now? Ask yourself, is the thought that I'm having right now empowering me, or is it holding me back? Is it something that's going to drive me forward? I get all of my clients. Yesterday I ran my mastermind group in Birmingham, and I am constantly getting my business members there to look at their thoughts. What's driving them? Because don't underestimate what's going on in this mind up here. If you think on a daily basis we're having over 60 million pieces of information coming at us, and we filter it down to less than 4,000. And then by the time we actually filter it right down, we're having very few thoughts. Those thoughts that you're having over and over again become beliefs, and those beliefs start to shape how you do life, how you show up in life, how you experience life, how you interact with other people. So I want you to keep questioning every single day. Ask yourselves, are these thoughts empowering me, or are they holding me back? What would I really choose? Because realistically, I'm having a good one today, I should have put my teeth in. Realistically, would you really choose to have thoughts that disempower you? I want you to just think for a moment, because we are thinking. Think of something that really pisses you off, really gets you go. I can see some people have started thinking it already. Flipping out, that was quick. But think about it. What really winds you up? Experience those feelings. Just think about it. You know, if you can't think of anything, think of an animal being hurt. Think of something that really annoys you. Being stuck in traffic, whatever it is. Feel how that feels right now. I want you to visualise what you can see. What can you hear? What are you experiencing when you think about that thing that doesn't make you feel good? Okay? Now I'd like you to think about something that makes you feel really happy. your children, your mom, your dad, your aunties, your uncles, your husband, being at university, being amongst these ladies, lovely flowers, the favourite place you went on holiday, whatever it is that comes up for you right now that makes you feel happy. I want you to just experience that. How does that feel? How does it make you feel? What emotions go through your mind as you think about it? What are you visualising? What are you hearing? What are you seeing? And as you think about that, notice that you chose. You had the ability then to go from thinking something horrible to something great. So therein lies the proof and all the research that you need that you are in control of your thoughts. So I want you to start thinking about that. The first successful behaviour you need to start thinking about is reframing your thoughts. Why would you choose to get out of bed miserable? Well, sometimes the alarm does go off a little bit early and the duvet is really perfectly wrapped around you and the temperature is perfect on that mattress. But the reality is, if you change that to thinking how incredible it would be to get out of bed and live the next day, that you have that opportunity, you watch what happens. Just think how amazing it is for you to be alive right now. The chances of you being on your chair, being you right now, of your dad's sperm and your mum's egg coming together, yeah, being real here, but the chances of it, keep it real, ladies, we were made from an egg and a sperm, we can't deny it, right? But the chances of that happening were 1 in 4 trillion. How amazing are you? But how many opportunities are you wasting? But you were given that amazing gift of being 1 in 4 trillion. That's incredible. That shows you how special and unique you are. So your thoughts are guiding. So I need you to start thinking about, how do I reframe my thoughts to empower me? The minute you start to have more empowered thinking is the minute everything changes. I can't tell you what happened for me. You know, I never thought I'd write a book. January this year, I wrote a book, and well, last year I wrote the book, it launched in January. That has taken me on a whole new journey. I always wanted to write a book, and I'm just writing my second book now. But I always wanted to produce something that would live in people's hearts forever. And what empowers me to know that my great-great-great-great-great-great-grandchildren will find me on the internet one day. They won't need to go on a programme and research me. Actually, I'll have a big social footprint. And I'm making a difference in their lives already. Are you making a difference in your great-great-great-great-great-grandchildren if you have them? What is your legacy? Your legacy is driven by you. What is the message that you want people to say when you're not here anymore? The next one is vision. You need to have the big picture. It's not just about setting goals for being at university. You need to have a life plan. What is it you really want to achieve? What is that legacy? How big is your vision? The bigger, the better. And I hear people say, I can't make it that big, I'll never achieve it. Let's go back to the thoughts. What you think about and what you focus on is what you get. There's no such word as can't. If you've got a big vision, it's better to reach for the moon and hit the stars, because at least you're going to get further forward than you are now. But have a really clear vision. And to have a really clear vision, you need to get really clear on your values. So how big is your vision? The next one, especially for those ladies that want to set up business, risk. That word, people look at me and go, oh, that's a bit unusual, throwing that one in the mix. You need to understand that with change comes risk. Nothing's guaranteed. Safe is the new risky. If you don't dare to take a chance and take some element of risk in your life, you'll never know what life really is. You'll just be existing. Is that what you want? There is an element of risk in everything we do. When you got out of bed and got up and came here today, however you came, public transport, car, you were at risk. Apparently that's one of the biggest risks we take every single day. But so many people are so scared to take risk. I won't go for that job promotion. I'm not quite good enough. I don't think I've got the criteria. I won't set up my own business because what if I fail? But what if you don't? What if you succeed? What if you surround yourself by the right people that will empower you and help you move forward? What if you have all the skills and resources and capability inside you to do whatever it is that you want to do? Because I'm here to tell you today, you do. You are more than capable of doing whatever it is that big vision is. So understand that you need to take risks. Calculated risks, but you still need to take risks. The next one is influence. Those people that you spend most time with. They have the ability to be toxic and poison your vision and your thoughts, or they can empower you to move forward. You need to check out your circle of influence. Is it moving you forward and encouraging you and supporting you, or is it holding you back? Do you need to make some changes in that circle of influence? As a businesswoman, I influence many people. I have to make sure that my intention is right. That whenever I'm stood in front of people, my intention is for them to get the best out of themselves. And it's not by lying to them. It's not by being dishonest. It's by telling the truth. So is your circle of influence encouraging you to be your most authentic self? Or are you hiding? Are you acting? Are you putting on a mask, pretending to be someone else, trying to please everybody? I want you to start thinking about how you're being influenced in your life. You know, you can get caught in that perfection trap, can't you? And that's my latest podcast, The Perfection Trap. You can get caught in it and it holds us back because we think everything's got to be perfect before we make change. No, it doesn't. You need to understand that you influence your life, but you're also influencing the lives of people around you. How was I influencing my son's life that he felt the need to check out? Well, the reality was that he needed to take accountability for that problem, and I needed to support him along the way. And the hardest lesson I had to learn, excuse me, I just spat then, that was disgusting. The hardest lesson that I had to learn was to let go of that problem and let Matthew own his own problem and be there to support him. But I wanted to beat myself up. I wanted to take the blame. I didn't want him to be in pain. But I had to understand that somewhere down the line I had influenced his decision. And it wasn't what I was doing wrong. It was that I'd taken my eye off the ball and hadn't noticed the clues as to how he was driving himself forward. So, the next one is relationships. Now, I'm not necessarily talking about your intimate relationships, but if they're not right, ladies, do something about it. You know, the time when Matthew tried to take his own life, I'd been married for 17 years at that stage. And I wasn't happily married because we'd lost each other because we were so busy working. I'm really pleased to tell you that that wake-up call we took notice of, and we've been married 27 years in 2 weeks. But I don't tell you that again to impress you. I tell you it to impress upon you that relationships take work. Relationships take time, they take effort, they take nurturing. But the most important relationship you're ever going to have is the one you have with yourself. How is that? Because you cannot have relationships right around you if your relationship with yourself isn't right. Can you look in the mirror and say you like yourself? Can you look in the mirror and say, I love myself? We've been taught, sadly, that it's arrogant to do that. It is not. I tell you now, it is not, and encourage your children to do this. It is the most empowering thing you can do to give yourself the gift of self-love. Because with self-love comes self-care. With self-care comes health. With health comes well-being. With well-being comes great emotions, comes incredible results. As I said, I was 16 stone. That 16 stone didn't happen by accident, and I couldn't blame anyone else. I had to take responsibility for that. But the reason that I was wrapped in that shroud of overweightness was because I was using it as an excuse. I was overeating. I was distracting myself from wanting to make changes in my life. When I'd finish a busy shift, I'd go to Asda. No word of a lie. I'd go to Asda and buy 2 loaves of Tiger bread, one for the family, one for me. Asda were absolutely gutted when I decided to lose weight. bread sales went down. They begged me to come back, but I refused. Seriously, I was overeating myself to death. I was under a cardiologist. He told me. And the biggest embarrassment was I was there in the A&E department nursing Moira. Moira, Irish lady, diabetic, half a leg. Yeah? We called her one-legged Moira. That was the reason. She's in the department and she's there. I'm dressing her wound on the amputated side. And I'm knelt down in front of her, overweight, sweating profusely, squeezed into my uniform. Not very attractive. And I'm doing her wound and I'm saying to her, because I care, Moira, you can't keep doing this to yourself. If you keep coming back here, we're going to end up taking the other leg off, and I don't want that for you. And she, in her little joking voice, went, well, it'll make it easier. I won't need just one slipper anymore. However, she then looked at me and went, are you really serious? I won't do the Irish accent. It's embarrassing. I end up going somewhere else on the globe. But she said, are you really serious? You telling me to look after myself? Have you seen the state of yourself? Wow. If you're going to go out there and be a great influencer, you need to practice what you preach. You need to be authentic. You need to be showing up as the best you can be. Not perfect. I just spat when I spoke. But that's not going to put me off my stride, because that's nature. That's human nature. It's how we are. But you need to practice what you preach. You need to walk your walk. I'm out here. So relationships. Get to know yourself. Get to know the people around you and how they're influencing you. And as I go back, you can see they're all linked. This one is time management. Why would that be linked? I'll tell you why. This one's great. Become really selfish with your time. Because we give so much time away, but how much time are you giving to yourself? Become a great manager of your time. Start wiring into your diary me time. Time for me to reflect, time for me to look at my thoughts. Because the minute you start caring about yourself is the minute everything changes around you, because you become much more caring about other people, and people notice that change. Because when you feel good about yourself, the world around you feels good. Have you noticed? You get up in the morning in a good mood, everyone around you in a good mood. Ladies, we control the barometer in the house. We get up in a bad mood, guess what? Everybody else is going to be in a bad mood. Think about that. Come home from work, if we're not in a good mood, the house could have been in a good mood, but the minute we walk in, we can suck the life out of that house, can't we? We are so good at that. And finally, if there's one thing I definitely encourage, and this is what this Enterprise Month is all about, and I'm so privileged to be asked to come here today by Lydia and V, and I am so excited that Reach for Success Women's Conference is here and it's happening, because you need to become a lifelong learner. I don't mean just keep studying your hearts out, getting degree after degree. I mean a lifelong student of your own living, understanding how you're wired, why you do what you do, and how you do it. If there's one thing I'd like to leave you with today, it's to start to live courageously, love deeply, and forgive easily. It's been my absolute pleasure to share with you today. I'm going to be around, so if you want to talk to me, I'm more than happy to talk to you. If you don't, I won't take offence. But I just want to leave you with this. Why wait a lifetime to create a life that you absolutely love? Because you deserve it. Go out there and celebrate being you. Thank you. My name's Debbie Huxton.